And the shadow has a sun. It may seem dark, so dark, but after each night the dawn will come. You wonder how you make it through all your dreams hidden from view. Why even try, you say, the lucky are far and few. If you hide your heart, where will that leave you? What are you running from? Even the shadow has a sun.
Even the shadow has a sun.
It may seem dark, so dark, so dark, but after each night the dawn will come. All the storms will blow, the winds will change, and then you will know. What are you running from?
What are you running from?
Even the shadow has a sun.
Even the shadow has a sun.
It may seem dark, so dark, so dark, but after each night the dawn will come. The dawn will come. The dawn will come. The dawn will come.
The dawn will
Oh,
come.
dawn.
The dawn will come. The
Dawn will come.
The dawn will come.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's talk about the title of this talk, shall we? I'm sure some of you were like, what in the world? Oh, for dying out loud. It's actually the name of a little podcast that I started with my friend who's a death doula. And it's all about, I want to talk a little bit about grief, and I want to talk about death and dying as a gateway to living. That's really the crux of it, because I've had a little bit of several experiences over the last several years that have really gotten me deep into an intimate relationship with grief. When I wrote the song, Even the Shadow, I remember it distinctly. I was laying on a massage table, and I was grieving something. It wasn't the loss of a person per se, but I was grieving something very deeply, and really had not experienced this level of sadness or grief. And this phrase kept coming to me, even the shadow has a sun. And what came to me out of that was this idea that, oftentimes, whenever we're feeling not so great, we turn our face to the sun, right? That's one of the sayings. Turn your face to the sun and let the shadows fall behind you. But I wanted to really have permission, give myself permission, to turn and face the shadow, knowing that there's always going to be a sun there. Every shadow has a sun. What if we turned to face that shadow once in a while? It allowed me to think about grief and times of darkness a little bit differently. So in 2022 and 2023, let me just say, those were really tough years for me. I experienced a lot of loss. Let me just kind of paint a picture for you. They were a lot of unwelcome losses, some more unwelcome than others. So I had ended a 5-year abusive relationship. I had to figure out what I was going to do with myself. I was living in Colorado at the time and decided I would come home to Iowa because this is where I feel most at home. And I just thought, well, even though I'm grieving this, I'm going to move back to Cedar Rapids. It's my home. I'm going to be filled again, and life is going to take off. And I had all these plans in my head, and things started to fall into place. I was trying to find a place to live, and just miraculously, as things do, I found a perfect home for me that I bought. It was my first home that I purchased. And I moved in, and I thought, this is it. Things are going to start rolling. And then it was like I hit a brick wall. That same year, in October, I caught COVID, and I was sick for almost 4 weeks. Shortly thereafter, I lost a dear friend of mine to a long battle of breast cancer, which really rocked my world. Shortly thereafter, before Christmas, 3 days before Christmas, my beloved grandfather passed away at 96. He was the one that inspired my love of music and actually gave me the nickname Anji Cat. So I have a very strong relationship with him. And as if that wasn't enough, 5 days later, my beloved 18-year-old cat Toby transitioned, which gutted me. It just really gutted me. So, needless to say, the universe was desperately trying to get me to pay attention in some way. Because I had all these plans in my head, but my heart said, not right now. Not right now. And I was really drawn to whether I wanted to be or not. I had no motivation, no energy for anything else. So what do I have to do but sit with it? An unwelcome visitor, but one that came bearing gifts, right? And I think that's part of it. I'm not trying to bring everybody down, but at the same time, we all experience losses like this, right? And I realized that, I should have mentioned that on top of that, I entered menopause. And that's a whole nother talk in and of itself. You want to talk about losses. And I just realized that it really hit me that as I age, these types of losses are going to happen with more regularity, more frequency than I really wanted. But I needed to be okay with that. I needed to figure out how to be okay with that and navigate it. So yeah, and when I look at losses, then I got to sit with it, and grief said, loss is always here. There's always going to be grief. Think about grieving a relationship that has ended, a job that has come to an end, maybe moving to a new home. Whether that's something you had planned and you're excited about, there's still a little grief, a little loss about that chapter in your life, right? Speaking of aging, I am sitting today because my body in menopause doesn't work the way that I would really like it to work, and I gave myself tendinitis in both feet because I thought I could keep running for exercise. And I have been resisting it, resisting all these losses, all of these challenges, really fiercely. And this time, because I couldn't walk for nearly 2 weeks, I was forced to sit down. It was as if the universe was saying, sit and be here for a little bit. And there's some real great gifts that I have come to realize from sitting with grief and slowing down and looking at what looks like losses. And I'm going to get to those. But before I do, I want to head into another song that sort of speaks to this process of loss that is witnessed in the seasons every single year. So this is called moving on. Flying south again, across a lonely autumn sky. I wonder how they know when to leave. I wonder if they know why. Without question, they spread their wings, setting their compass for summer skies. Moving on, they're moving on. I'm headed south again to escape the hurricane, leaving behind the wreckage of a storm you could not name. And all the things we do without questioning. There's gotta be a better way, but I can't explain. Moving on, need to move on. A change of heart, a change of mind. No telling what I'll find. I can't stay here, a slave to fear. Gonna leave this old life behind. Seasons turn, another chapter, another page. I used to feel so old and tired. Now I just feel strange. And what I once believed is no longer true. This is not who I am. It's time for a change. Moving on, I'm moving on. Keep moving on. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the seasons, we know, they kind of move on, right? Everything moves on. But here's one of the first gifts that grief taught me. I will say that I'm not sure that I resonate with the 5 stages of grief, because I think that it indicates that somehow we get past it, we get over it, right? And I personally, this is my personal belief from sitting with grief, is that you don't get over it. You don't even go through it. You integrate it into your life. And what I mean by that is that I think sometimes we we take grief and that level of sadness, deep sadness, is not an emotion that is to be pushed down and relegated, sequestered in the back corner, only to be brought out for the funeral. I think it's an important emotion. It's a primary emotion, just like all the other emotions. And when we can bring it forward, I feel like we can honor that. We can honor that, not only in ourselves, but then we can be comfortable and honoring and hold space for others, no matter what they're grieving. At least that's been my experience. That's the first gift that grief gave me, is this understanding that, you know what, yes, you're going to feel this. You may feel this more often than you'd like, but it's part of your emotions and you're meant to feel. And that's the second gift, is that grief can be found anywhere and everywhere, right? It's not just for the loss of life. It is felt in the loss of the job, the home, the relationship. It could be the loss of a dream that you had been working towards that didn't quite come to fruition. All of those losses just want to be held and heard. It's everywhere. And I think in our culture, the more that we recognize that and we turn towards the shadow, we understand that the sun is still there, but we give honor to the shadow and we allow ourselves to feel it. And we honor and hold the space for others to feel that as well, instead of slapping a happy sticker on it and telling people to move on. And the third gift of grief for me, though there are many, is to slow down and feel. You see, I'm a type A personality. For those of you who are not aware, I am always on the move. I need to be productive. That's how I derive my worth. Even on the weekends, I have to be doing something. And the universe, I guarantee you, will get you to slow down, whether you want to listen or not. And I kept running. I kept running from the shadow. I kept running and kept moving. And the universe finally said, let's cut her off at the ankles. Let's make it so that she can't move. And so it was comical because all my friends laugh about this. I've been getting messages for months, for years, about needing to slow down, and I just kept ignoring it. And you know what? We don't have to work all the time. We don't have to keep striving. We don't have to keep pushing, forcing our way through everything to get to the end goal. Right? I told myself when I was much younger, gosh, I can't wait, right? Like how many of you are sitting there going, I can't wait to retire because then I can relax. And then you get there and you're like, I'm busier than ever. So grief was an unwelcome visitor at first, but man, it was one of the best visits ever because I got to slow down and feel, really, truly feel it. And how amazing it is to feel the depths of all of those feelings. And during the height of my grief, I want to share with you a poem that I wrote, which probably would not have come out. None of this creative juice would have come out had I continued to keep running and moving. But this was a poem I wrote. It's called Waves of Sadness. Excuse me. They say that grief is like a wave. At times you are at its peak and can see the light far out on the horizon. And then you are in the dark belly of that same wave, strong undertow, and all you can see is the impending wall of loneliness that threatens to drown you. Searching for an anchor for my tiny boat, my tiny little aching heart, wondering how far away are the safe shores where I can lay down and rest. for I feel deeply the rise and fall of every oceanic crest, and I am much too tired to swim. And that's what it felt like. I was just too tired to swim. And I had to get to that point, really, to fully understand the benefit of rest and holding space. Grief is a resting process. It's a resting so that we can open up and hold the space for all of the love, all of the loss, all of the feelings that we feel, because they are holy. They are sacred. And when I look at the seasons, this is another gift of grief, is that we're so afraid of being drowned in that wave, right? But if we take our cue from nature, it's cyclical, right? Every autumn. I think this is part of the reason why most people I hear anyway, dread autumn. I'm one of those people that loves it, and I love winter coming because it is quiet. It is nature's way of saying slow down and rest. But most people are like, oh, I don't like it. It's cold. You can't do anything. But watching that leaf fall, falling, floating, resting, and then what happens? In the spring, we rise again. After every loss, there is a rebirth. After the loss of that job, there will be a new opportunity. After the loss of that relationship, there will be a new love to find. After the loss of someone we love, we find that there is a new, more intimate relationship with them now that they're in the spirit world. It's a cycle, and grief is the entryway to that, understanding and that fully embodying that. So I invite you, as you enter into this time of autumn, whatever griefs or sadness is on your heart, lean into, have tea with that shadow. Rest. Give yourself rest and hold sacred space for your tiny little aching heart, because there is always a sun behind that shadow. There is always a new sunrise. There is always a new spring. And this is how I believe we come to fully understand that there is always life after death. This next song speaks to that. It's called Release. Empty canvas, blank page. Do you keep those colors in a cage? Break the rules, suffer the fools. Freedom is the way you choose. When everything you think you know keeps dragging you down below. Release, release, let it go, and let your life unfold. Open your eyes, arms wide. You were meant for the skies. Feet on the ground. Are you still bound? Are you ready to live out loud? that with me. Release, release it. Let it go. Release, release it. Let it go. One more time. Release, release it. Let it go. Swim the deep end. Let your heart mend. You are bigger than you pretend. Don't look down, cast away the doubt. Rise up and take up your crown. Everything you think you know keeps dragging you down below. Release, release, let it go. And let your life unfold. Release it. Let it go. Release, release it. Let it go. One more time. Release, release it. Let it go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angie.
You're welcome. I made it through without crying. I could hear that some of you didn't, and that's okay. That means I did my job.
We so appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so as the ushers come forward, we invite you to hold your love offering in your hand for a blessing. And we invite those who are online to make your contribution at unitycr.org. Okay. We bless these baskets and the good that they will soon receive. We see them filled with abundance as we give generously, we receive thankfully, and we give again abundantly. And now join me in our offertory statement. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
We're grounded by faith, growing in wisdom, grateful for love in all that we are. Grounded by faith, growing in wisdom, grateful for love forever. Amen. Grateful for love, growing in wisdom, grounded by faith that all is well. So grateful for love, growing in wisdom, grounded by faith that all is well. We're grounded by faith, growing in wisdom, grateful for love in all that we are. Grounded by faith, growing in wisdom.
Freely we give, and gratefully we receive. We dedicate and consecrate these gifts, tithes, and offering to the will, the work, and the way of the Spirit as it expresses itself through this ministry of love. We surround these members of our spiritual community who made their prayer requests known. We offer our loving thoughts and prayers. We affirm and know that each person is blessed with wisdom, discernment, health and wholeness, and prosperity in good measure. We release these requests, trusting that all is well. Amen. Peace on.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect unity. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever I am, God is. And that's the truth.
Last chorus into the chant. Okay? Everything you think you know keeps dragging you down below. Release, release, let it go, and let your life unfold. Release it, let it go. Release, release it, let it go. Release, release it, let it go. One more time. Release, release it, let it go. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you. What a gift.